Random thought. If you don't like someone and they pass, is it wrong to celebrate their death?
I think it depends.
You took a little too long thinking about that just now, by the way.
No, because at first, you know me, I'm quick to, I was going to throw it out. And then I just thought of something. I'm like, well, if it was someone that hurt my family, let's say was on death row and got executed, I'm celebrating.
Right.
But if it's someone I just don't know, an athlete that I just didn't care for, the lady at the coffee shop who always messed up my coffee. No, I don't think you should celebrate, someone's death. I mean, someone dying, we're all going to be there at some point.
Right.
But someone dying is not just them. I think about, either their kids, their siblings, their parents, their friends, their community. Every death impacts somebody.
Right.
And so I don't think you should celebrate it. But I would say if someone, hurt my family, went to jail and was getting executed, I would have popcorn and it'd be the Michael Jackson meme. I'm just sitting there just waiting for it to be over.
What about had a roommate who took my rent money and the money for the phone bill, got some new tattoos, then moved out. I pulled up, like, what the hell is this truck doing up front? Walked inside, all the stuff that he of his was in the truck, and as soon as I walked back out, he's gone in the truck, took off. So from that point, I'm a grudgeful person. I'm petty as shit. I have no longer spoken to this person ever again. Here we are, decades later. He'll try to reach out on social, ignore. We ain't got nothing to talk about. We ain't got nothing to talk about. So, would that be, in that case, if this person were to pass, should I celebrate or no?
No, I mean, he stole money from you. Okay, big deal. Stole money from you. I think there's a difference. Like I said, for me, it's you hurt my family. You killed one of my family members. I'm celebrating it.
That's where we stop. That's where we draw the line.
That's where I stop. Okay. Yeah, if you just slash my tire and then on your way getting away, you get in a car accident and die. No, I'm not going to celebrate the fact that you died.
But you are going to say Karma's a bitch.
I might say something, but it won't be celebratory. I might comment on it. I might have a couple smart ass remarks, but I'm not going to be like, yay, that's what you get, and celebrate it. No, I wouldn't do that.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Yonni Terryl.
And I'm just Terryl. You ever been out somewhere and overheard two people having crazy conversation?
Yeah, kind of like this one right here. Well, we are those people, and we've been having these conversations since college.
Yep, it's the Regular Guys Random Thoughts, episode 85. Be sure to like, subscribe, and definitely leave a comment.
Indeed. And make sure you hit that bell for notifications too, man. Definitely want to run these numbers up. As speaking of somebody who ran the numbers up, Kevin Samuels, you're a therapist, you're a philosopher, is there another word we can, if you went to church, would he be the pastor?
No, he's just like XM Radio. He was a station I would listen to, but he wasn't a station I only listened to. And I only believed everything he said. It was just interesting things on his platforms. And I remember I first heard about him was during the pandemic. And I had no idea who he was. I just started clicking on videos. And it was hilarious. Is he a little blunt, direct? Yep. But he had some good things to say. Now, he upset a lot of people, specifically a lot of Black women were upset. But I liked the content. I liked the engagement. I didn't agree with everything that he said or in the manner in which he said it. But if you take away the feelings and just kind of listen, some of it made some good sense. And I felt that he was fair to men and women. I think he was a little harsher on uneducated women, but that was kind of their fault. He didn't make them call into the show. But it kind of tripped me out because I was watching a video just as the alert came that he died. And I was just like, what? I'm just watching the one he just did yesterday. He uploaded it like 10 hours ago.
First of all, the fact that you said XM radio, so you pay for XM radio unless you just bought a new car and you get that for free. You should have at least stuck to just radio and went terrestrial, which is actually free because you were watching his content for free. And you read from the book of Kevin Samuels, and you liked a lot of his content and the way he was saying. Like I said, he was blunt, and which is something that you and I can relate to, being blunt, being straightforward, and just giving it to you the way that, just raw and unfiltered. Because what's wrong with that? The problem that's wrong with it is people say they want the truth, but they don't know how to handle the truth. I'm not a big Kevin Samuels fan. I didn't watch his content. I've seen some clips, and I'm like, all right. Well, I mean, and I get where he's coming from, and I get why he said some of the things he said. But the problem was he wasn't consistent, because there were people, if they were celebrities or they had a little bit of celebrity to them, or he liked them, he wouldn't drag them through the dirt like he did everybody else. Like Brittany Renner, he was, this is complaint I hear from a lot of women who would say, like, if it was a light-skinned woman or she was pretty, he wasn't going to say anything bad about her. You know, you would know, because again, you read from the book of Kevin Samuels. Did you ever see him take a beautiful woman and knock her down a peg or two?
Yes, I have. And I think the difference is he invited Brittany Renner to his platform. Thus, you're not going to tear that person down that you invited to your platform, which is different when he has the phone lines open and people call in on the show and dial into YouTube to get his advice.
Okay,
or comment.
I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop it because you sound very 70s, 60s, and 50s right now, because they didn't dial it. Okay, because it was IG Live. They requested to join the live, right? And even though it's on YouTube Live, they requested to join the show, but it's not a dial-in. You sound like you had a rotary phone just now. I want to stop before somebody starts eating you up in the comments, because these women will get you.
They requested to get into his platform and either ask a question, or he would pose a question and he'll say, this show is for ladies only. I'm only gonna let the ladies call in, or ask to get invited in. And then he also had shows where it was only men could request to come in and ask a question or answer the question that he posed to get their feedback. I have seen him, with beautiful women that went on to ask a question, or they're talking about them trying to find a high value man. And he didn't break them down physically because they were attractive. I mean, he would call it out. But what he would go at them on is what their expectations are. So if you are 25, beautiful, and he'll say, okay, well, you're looking to get married. It's like, yes. All right. Where do you live? What city do you live in? I live in X city. Okay. How many kids do you want to have? Kids? Yes, I want to have 3 kids. Okay, 3 kids. Do you want to have to work to contribute to the bills when you have your first kid, or do you want to be a stay-at-home mom? And they would always want to be a stay-at-home mom with, 3 kids. And then he would say, well, how much money does a man have to make in X city that you live to be able to support you and 3 kids? And they're like, I don't know. I've never thought about it that way. And it's like, okay, well, he would break it down and say, you're looking for somebody that makes $350,000 a year.
Right.
At least. And so he would say, do you care what race they are? And they're like, I want a black man. He's like, do you know how many black men that are not athletes, entertainers, that make $350,000 in the U.S.? And then how many of those people are actually in X city where you live? And of course, they wouldn't know that because they wouldn't look up the statistics. But I thought it was a good dialogue if they took it that way, because they would make all these, you never know. And what about this? And I attract these good men. And especially the women like in their 30s that, have 2 kids from a previous relationship that are saying they're going to be celibate, wait till they get married before they have sex. And he's like, why would a guy who makes $350,000 with no kids date you and wait 2 years to have sex when you already have 2 kids? Why guys like that don't do that? And the women were like, well, you'll understand, Kevin, I think I'm worth it. And my vajayjay is worth the wait and all this other stuff. It always is. And so it was just interesting. So it was like, I liked that, because I think a lot of people don't think in those terms of, if this is what you want in a life partner and the type of lifestyle you want, then you need to try to date in that lifestyle. But then also, what do you bring to the table? And he was just raw with it. So yeah, I've seen him take down some beautiful women.
The realistic thing about it is too, that there are a lot of people who are delusional about their self-worth. And it's not to get anybody down on and not say don't think highly of yourself, but you've got to be realistic. I mean, you and I had this conversation. I think we've talked about this before. You and I had this conversation a long time ago when we were on the phone talking to each other and said, and I think you said, if we're asking for this in a woman, what else are we bringing to the table, right? And it was one of those things that it was a real introspective look, because I think past that conversation and looked in the mirror and like, all right, what are we gonna do? Because I mean, yeah, you got a bachelor's, big deal. Everybody has one nowadays. They're like friggin' driver's license. All right, move on and go get your master's. You know, all right, working on a doctorate. You know, did all that, and it's not about just the education, obviously, because there's more past that. And it's not like you need. Let's be honest. In today's world, you don't need that kind of education and going into that kind of debt to make the money you need to make. But at the same time, what are you bringing to the table? And you've got people who've said to me before, and I'm sure you've heard this before, oh, you're how old and you don't have kids? I'm like, yeah, well, I don't have a wife. So, yeah, because I don't want a baby mama. I'm not saying that having a baby mama is wrong, because shit happens. However, that was my preference. Right. It was your preference. These are the things that I think it's got to be, you got to be realistic in your expectations. And I do believe, obviously, he made a lot of women upset. The thing I get, and that really gets me, though, is the guys being upset that the women who did not like him were not sad that he passed. Okay, because you idolized him, Mr. Man, because he didn't tear you down, because you were smart enough not to jump on his live and have him just rip you apart, because he would, doesn't mean that you should be mad that this woman who didn't like his content, because this man, they thought he was toxic, and you can't tell somebody how to feel. There are people who think you're wrong. There are people who think that I'm wrong. I can't be mad at somebody who thinks I'm wrong, and you can't be mad at somebody who thinks you're wrong, because that's their opinion. We all have them. So therefore, don't be mad at women who are mad that this man is, who are not mad and not sad and not upset that he is no longer here spreading what he thought was his gospel and reading from the book of Kevin Samuels.
100% agree with everything you just said. What I think that people, especially people who only heard a clip or two and just said, I hate this guy. If you watch a whole bunch of his clips and things from his platform, he wasn't in attack mode to every person that went onto his platform to ask a question.
But those are the clips that went viral.
Exactly, but it was based on what they were saying. And so there's this one woman who, she wants to find a high-value man. She's in her early 30s. She has a son from a previous relationship. And when asked, he was just probing questions. So why didn't you stay with the dad? Well, she cheated with one of his cousins or something like that. And he was like, what? And so she's just trying to say, like, hey, you know, I'm still worthy of a high-value man, da-da-da. He was going after her about her. And she thought it was no big deal that she slept with this person's cousin, because they were like second cousins. And that's what ruined the relationship.
No, first of all, you cheated.
And she'd been cheating a whole bunch before that. It wasn't like that was the only time. She had been cheating a whole lot before that. So, and he was calling her out, like, why do you think you deserve this? And you had some people that felt like they deserved a high-value man and all that because they're good looking, they're in shape, and that's all they bring to the table. They have either no education, no job. Candy. Yeah. And that's what their thought was. And so they're like, I have people, high-value men coming at me all the time. And he was like, yeah, but they're not trying to marry you. They're just trying to sleep with you. So a lot of it was based on the energy that somebody brought him. And I've seen him have just regular dialogue with women and men that it didn't get confrontational. It wasn't because both parties went at it the right way. So it just really varied. But I think you can't judge this person just on some viral clips if you've not watched a lot of the content that he talked about. And everyone says he only talks bad about black women. I've seen him talk to white women, Brazilian women, Hispanic women, Asian women, and then all types of men as well. So for the people that hate him, the people that don't like what his message, to be celebrating the fact that he died, I think is disgraceful. And it says a lot about who you are as a person, that somebody you don't know. And that's the other thing. If I don't know you, but I just see something you do on the platform, that's what you do on the platform. People that listen to us, they don't know us personally. Well, some of them do, but they don't know us personally. And so whatever I say about Married at First Sight or you say about 90 Day Fiance, if you're going to sum all that up about who we are just based on these clips that we put out, there's more to us than that. And so before you can truly hate, despise somebody, get to know them. I mean, I don't like Ted Cruz's politics, but I don't want anything to happen to him.
There's a clip that's been going around with Kevin Samuels, and the narrative around is that he said out of his own mouth 4 years ago that if he bashed women, his platform would take off, and that men don't want to hear the truth, which is why he switched his content to bashing women. And I think that's a dangerous narrative, and it's not just that because he didn't just do that to women, he did it to men.
So you're a fat fucker.
Yeah.
So you think a 5'10", almost 300-pound dude, how much money you make?
Like 400 every 2 weeks.
So you made 400 every 2 weeks. So you make 800 a month. You make less than $10,000 a year. Okay.
But how many 20-year-olds was him?
Hold on. Dude, I was a 20-year-old and I was making far more money than that. In the 80s, when minimum wage was $3.35 an hour. So I need to hear it.
Ooh.
How long? You got a big dick?
Huh?
You have a big dick?
I mean, it's above average. I ain't know Ron Jeremy.
No. I asked you if you had a big dick. I didn't say it was above average.
I don't know what that is, really.
Nigga, you know if you got a big dick or not. Stop the bullshit. Every dude know whether or not he got a big dick. I know I got a big dick. You don't know?
I mean,
you don't have a big dick. That's the point. You don't have a big dick. You don't have a big wallet. You're a fat dude. And you got a lot of nerve thinking you should get choosing singles at 5'10" and 300 pounds, making less than $1,000 a month at 20 years old. And women should approach you. What they get, they don't even get a big dick.
Now, what was interesting, and this is where I might piss people off, is that the viral videos, if you listen to some of the people on it, whether guys or girls, it's the ones that aren't listening to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And they're trying to listen to respond instead of listening to understand what he's saying.
Waiting
and
to
then they start
respond,
to sound more stupid when they keep talking. He's like, I didn't say that. You just said that no one ever's going to want me because I'm 35, black, and I got 2 kids. He says, no, I didn't say that.
Right.
What I said is the type of man that you're wanting, why would he want you? Because you're 35 and you already have 2 kids. Why would this single person, black male, 6-figure earner, why would he want you? I get
because
a lot
he
of
wants
men
a
come at me
white
like
woman, that's why.
Exactly. So it's like, you could be mad, which goes back to what you and I talked about a long time ago. Because I remember when we had that conversation, that was kind of the catalyst of me getting my shit together. Because like I said, I could want all this type of things in a person, but I don't have my financial life in order. I don't have this in order. I'm kind of a mess. So I need to fix me before I can start trying to go after some of these folks. And so it makes a lot of sense if you just listen to it. But some people are easily triggered and just want to snap. And watching a lot of the viral clips are the ones where people snap. If you watch a full 2 hour and just kind of fast forward to when he's interviewing people, it's not bad content.
Well, at least the content is still there, and you can keep reading from the book of Kevin Samuels if you like. Something else that got people triggered and really set people off this week was the leak from the Supreme Court. Justice Alito's, he wrote an opinion piece on Roe v. Wade, on overturning Roe v. Wade, and that got the world talking.
It did, and I never would have thought this would happen. There hasn't been such a major piece of legislation that's gotten changed. And it still just frustrates me and blows my mind that men are trying to regulate women's bodies. And especially some of these men who have paid people to have abortions.
Yes.
It just blows my mind. And I think that if we're going to do this, great. Then you and I talked about this on the show. Then I think we need to implement the vasectomy. As soon as you reach puberty, you have to have a vasectomy, and then it can get reversed once you are financially responsible to take care of a child. Then we won't have to worry about abortions anymore.
It's really interesting because, like you said, there are a lot of politicians who oppose certain laws and have their opinion until it applies to them. And then they find a way to circumvent the system anyway, right? Because it applies to everybody else, but not to me, because I'm important. The minute you go to the bathroom and wash up, that's too late to have an abortion. It's almost like that's what they want to get to. The minute you look at them, after that, it's too late for an abortion. It's like their restrictions are so, what they want is so tight. And it will be that way until it's their family member. It's their daughter, their side piece.
Well, and I think that's where the argument gets muddy because I'm not pro-abortion.
Right.
I'm pro-choice.
Exactly.
You can have a choice. So I had a coworker that I worked with, and come to find out, he was adopted, and he's pro-life because if his, natural mother would have aborted him, he wouldn't have been here. And I totally get that concept. All I'm saying is it's up to that person to choose what they want to do. I don't think we should legally force them to do something, and that there are women who believe that they're supporting this. I went out with someone and this kind of came up, and she's like, oh, well, no, I'm not for abortion. I'm pro-life. I was like, okay, but what about in the case of like incest and rape? And then that's when the dialogue got a little murky, and she was still leaning more towards still the pro-life side. I'm like, that's not my issue. You believe whatever you want. I don't think the government should tell women what to do, because what law do we have that make men do something that deals with our reproductive rights? There's not one thing. And so many of these men can go make all these babies, and you force them to have them. And then what? And then the other thought is, and I haven't seen the data on it, but what part of the population, from an ethnic standpoint or even economic standpoint, gets abortions? It's probably more people in the lower income brackets. So if you force them to have babies, what's going to happen to that group financially, economically, for years?
Well, not just that. I mean, the opinions of the hidey-tidy, snooty people are going to be like, well, stop having babies if you can't afford them. You stopped us from doing this. So, but here's the other thing, though. I think when it comes down to men and women, right? And speaking about that decision, I think Chris Rock said it best. And I love to always refer to Chris Rock comedy because
we've noticed.
Yes, I'm good. I'm glad you have. Remember when he said
Chris Rock is your Kevin Samuels?
Read it from the book of Chris Rock. When he said, if the woman says, I'm pregnant, he said, the first thing out of your mouth should be, so what are we going to do? Because guess what, guys? It's not your choice at the time. So then why is it that it's now the government's choice to determine what are we going to do? If men could get pregnant, we know abortion would be offered on every corner. Abortion would be like guns. You could get it in Walmart.
So I'm going to throw this out here.
Uh-oh.
I was having a conversation with my uncles about a year or two ago, and he has this theory. So remember when it was announced that technically Caucasians were now all but the minority because there's more.
I know this theory you're going with. Go ahead.
And so his theory is that they're trying to make sure that they can produce more Caucasian babies to bring the numbers back up to counter what was happening. And I'm arguing with him. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And but then the more I watch, I'm just like, there could be something to that. I don't know. Of course, I'm not going to say that that's the reason. But it's interesting thought. But no matter what the conspiracy theory could be, what I don't understand is how other women, especially women who could no longer menstruate, can support this and be all for it. And I get they grew up in a different era and all that, but I just think they're not looking at this as this is how the government takes over women's bodies. Like, it's like Handmaid's Tale. Like, I don't understand how other women could support that, right? If they were like, hey, black people under the age of 20, you can no longer do this. Just because I'm 47, I can't be like, oh man, this sucks to be them. I'm like, no. Once they hit that under 20 group, eventually they're going to hit the 30s group. Then the 40s group was something. So you got to stand up and say something. I just don't see how any woman supports the government doing this. Now, you could be pro-life and you don't support people getting abortions. Don't have one.
I've heard black women talk about this as well, too, and say that to support this whole conspiracy theory, there are a lot of things that are being told to women, to advice that they're being given by doctors and by non-black doctors to do this, which can be seen as population control for that. So that theory, that conspiracy theory, there may be some more validity to it. Like you said, you saw something like, wait, well, maybe this could be. There could be a lot more. And I'm not going to speak for women on this one, but ladies, feel free to comment below and let us know, because this is one of those things that, again, as two men, And we're not going to go ahead and step out on the limb and speak Kevin Samuel style on your reproductive system and what's being told in those rooms. But at the same time, I've heard these conversations, and it makes you think about it. And I don't buy into every conspiracy theory, but like you said, there seems to be a little bit of something in there.
It could be, but at the end of the day, it's still bullshit that this is where we are. I'm hoping that we don't go in the direction of turning this, and more women come out, more women speak out. All women, all ages, all races need to speak out because this impacts all of you. I can go march onto the Capitol all day long, but we need more women to do this. This is bigger than the Women's March. You need to, regardless of who you vote for, regardless of your political leaning, all women need to get together and rally. And then also men need to support women to speak up.
Yes,
and
exactly.
support the women that are doing it. I think Joy Behar was trying to put trying to encourage women not to have sex with.
Hey, hold up now. Stop. Hold up. Stop this nonsense now. We cannot do this. Stop that bullshit. We're not reading from the book of Joy Behar. Speaking of bullshit, got this one in, and I laughed when I saw it come across because I realized that when they sent this to rgrtpod@gmail.com, that this is somebody who's obviously paid attention and realized that Terrell is not a fan of Cardi B. But Cardi B recently said that God has cursed her with fame.
I hate it. I really hate it. Let me tell you something. If y'all ever wish to be rich and famous, don't wish to be famous. Don't wish to be famous. Wish to be rich. I'm so sick of it. I hate it. Why me? I feel like God cursed me with fame. Dead ass.
So for those that don't know why I'm not a Cardi B fan, has nothing to do with her music. It has to do with an interview she did where she said that when she was dancing in the clubs, she would, men would take her back to her house. She would drug them. They passed out. She would steal their money or jewelry and leave. And majority of women, at least on that saw the interview, commented on it, were supportive. Whereas when Channing Tatum was stripping, if it would have came out that he was drugging women and taking money from them and leaving, he would have been canceled. And so I believe it's a double standard. So I can't support Cardi B because of that. Now,
she's changed.
To her dumbass shit that she just said, you chose to do this. God didn't put you on the pole. God didn't put you on Love and Hip Hop. God didn't make you come up with these songs. God didn't give you WAP. You came up with all this stuff and created all this fame.
You assume she has WAP.
Now I'm just going to what she said. Yeah. I'm just going to what she said. Apparently she has a big garage, but but I mean, to complain, get that level of stardom that you worked hard to get, and now you're trying to be a victim, and this is a curse. No, you chose this. You did all this. God did it. If there is a God, he or she did not make you do all these things. You did it. Now this is the result of it. And so when you get all those Instagram followers and you do all these things, what you say matters.
Okay, you may think it's stupid and ignorant, but at the same time, I kind of understand what she's saying. And you'll hear this from a lot of famous people. And of course, those of us who aren't famous and rich, we go, oh, poor me, wah, wah, wah. But I kind of get where they're going. You do want the benefits of the riches, but the fame comes at a price, and that price is privacy, right? And some people think they want that until they get it, and then all of a sudden, oh crap, this means, why can't I just do this? Because that's what comes with fame. I don't think you paid attention to it, right? And that's the part that I think really gets people. So I understand why you say the things you do, not just because it's Cardi B, but for anybody else. But you understand why they feel that way, because all of a sudden, there's no such thing as a normal life. There's no such thing as just going to the grocery store.
Well, if Cardi B wants my sympathy, she can find it in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. You chose that life. I don't care.
Damn.
How that makes you feel. I mean, you did it. And so that's the thing. If you and I blow up, I can't I can't go to the store. You know what? I have apps. If you're that rich, you get apps. You can get stuff delivered. You hire somebody to go run all those errands for you. Now your privacy is that you're at home. Or do like their Kardashians. Rent out a movie theater to yourselves. And that way, go in there. Now you can watch a movie just like a normal person and get escorted out the back door to the limo and go home. But you chose that lifestyle. So I don't feel any sympathy for the fact that you don't have privacy and all that.
So let's go ahead and end the show on a great note. And usually when you start off with Florida woman or Florida man, it's going a whole nother way. This time, it's actually good news. And it's something to actually celebrate. So this woman wanted to celebrate her 100th birthday. So what did she do? Something that you and I both did. She jumped out of a perfectly good plane for her 100th birthday. And then she had family and friends down there on the ground. And when she landed, they celebrated her 100th birthday and had a great time. You and I talked about this when we went jumping. There was a video that showed an old man doing it. And then, there's no age. You're not too old to jump out of a plane as long as, you're in good health and your heart's not going to stop when you start free falling.
True. And I'm not encouraging everybody to turn 100 and jump out of a plane. But what I love about this story is the fact that she's 100 doesn't stop her from doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think the moment when you start giving up living is when you start dying. And so I love that. At 100 years old, I'm going to do something that so many 20-year-olds are scared to do. Mm-hmm. And you're going to go out there and, hey, cross it off your bucket list. I think it's amazing and good for her. Keep living that life.
Yeah, indeed. Whatever it is you decide to do to get that heart pumping and get some excitement, just make sure you do it safely. Make sure when you go skydiving or you're tandem jumping with somebody, that person looks happy. Like they've got something else to do later that day. Okay, that was the way I went into this. How's my instructor look? Because I may need to switch him out. If he looks sad and like his girlfriend just broke up with him, I need somebody else, please. Give me heads guy.
Yeah, wouldn't it be funny? Hey man, so you're my tandem partner. Nice to meet you. How you doing? Not too good, man. I just lost my house. Got foreclosed.
Time out.
Yeah, I need a sub. I need a sub.
If you're up there in the plane and you're like, no, I don't want to go. And he's like, fuck that, we're going. You're strapped to him. You can't stop him. He's going to push you out. We didn't push ourselves out of that plane. The person behind us went, ha! And we followed.
That'd be jacked up. Hey, man, sorry about this. My family needs the insurance money.
Oh, shit. Let's get out of here, man. Don't forget, we have the 90 Day Fiance recaps. We drop those Sunday nights, audio and video. Regular episodes Mondays, as much as we can get them, because, there's a lot that we have going on right now with the 90 Day Fiance. And, of course, on Wednesdays when we have the Married at First Sight. We're getting to decision day. So Wednesday's going to be decision day. After that, we've got the reunions and then the Where Are They Now. So after this week, 3 more episodes, then we can get back to our regular episodes and the 90 Day Fiance, which Terrell is actually loving. He's just not saying it yet.
No. See his face?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I'm Yonni Rude.
And I'm Just Terrell.
Make sure you follow us at Yonni Rude, at Just Terrell, and at RGRT Pod.
Yes. Be sure to send us some of your random thoughts or some of the bullshit you find on the internet. We'll talk about it on the show.
It's Regular Guys Random Thoughts Podcast. Cheers.
Cheers.